I want to speak to you about manifestation in its purest, most powerful form. Not the wishful thinking that so many mistake for creation, not the desperate pleading with external forces, but the commanding of reality through the deliberate use of your imagination. You see, most people approach manifestation backwards. They look at their current circumstances, they see what they don't have, they feel the absence of their desires, and then they try to create from that state of lack. This is why they fail. And this is why they conclude that manifestation doesn't work. But I tell you now, as one who has tested this law countless times, as one who has proven its reliability again and again, that manifestation works with mathematical precision when you understand the true nature of creation. Creation is finished. Everything that you could ever desire already exists in what I call the fourth dimension, the realm of imagination. Your task is not to create something new, but to select from the infinite possibilities that already exist, and to make that selection real in your three-dimensional world through the power of assumption. When I say assumption, I don't mean hoping or wishing or trying to convince yourself of something. I mean the complete acceptance of a state as true, regardless of what your senses tell you. This is the key that unlocks the door to unlimited manifestation. You must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not tomorrow, not when conditions are ripe, but now, in this very moment. The universe responds to states of consciousness, not to desires, not to needs, not to wants, but to the state you inhabit right now. Let me share with you the exact process that makes manifestation inevitable. First, you must become crystal clear about what you want. Not what you think you can have, not what seems reasonable given your current circumstances, but what you truly desire. The universe doesn't deal in half measures or compromises. It responds to the full intensity of your conviction. If you want wealth, don't settle for comfort. If you want love, don't settle for companionship. If you want success, don't settle for adequacy. Dare to want what you really want, because the universe is waiting to deliver it to you. Once you have identified your desire, you must translate it into a feeling. This is where most people stumble. They try to manifest from their minds, creating elaborate visualizations and affirmations, but they never drop down into the feeling of having what they want. The feeling is everything. The feeling is the language that the universe understands. When you can feel yourself to be the person who already has what you desire, when you can feel the naturalness of living in that state, you have set the creative forces in motion. But here's what you must understand about feeling. It's not an emotion that comes and goes. It's not excitement or happiness or gratitude, though these may accompany it. The feeling I speak is the deep, quiet knowing that what you want is already yours. It's the sense of naturalness that comes with ownership. Think of something you already possess, something you never doubt you have. Notice how you feel about it. There's no strain, no effort, no need to affirm or visualize. You simply know it's yours. This is the feeling you must cultivate for your desired manifestation. Now comes the crucial part, the part that separates those who manifest successfully from those who struggle and fail. You must persist in this assumption despite all evidence to the contrary. The three-dimensional world will show you the opposite of what you want. It will present you with bills when you're manifesting wealth, with loneliness when you're manifesting love, with obstacles when you're manifesting success. This is not a sign that the law isn't working. This is the law working exactly as it should. You see, the outer world is always reflecting your past assumptions. What you see around you now is the result of what you believed and felt days, weeks, or months ago. The universe has a built-in delay system, a time interval between your assumption and its manifestation. This delay is actually a gift, because it allows you to change your mind, to redirect your creative power before undesired states become manifest. But it also means that when you begin to assume a new state, the old world will persist for a while, trying to convince you that nothing has changed. This is the test. This is where your faith is proven. Not faith in some external deity or force, but faith in the law of consciousness, faith in your own imaginative power. When the world shows you lack, you must feel abundance. When it shows you sickness, you must feel health. When it shows you failure, you must feel success. This isn't denial or positive thinking. This is the conscious direction of your creative power. The universe operates on the principle of assumption hardened into fact. Every assumption it persisted in will eventually harden into fact in your three-dimensional world. This is why I say the universe has no choice but to deliver. It's not that the universe is obligated to give you what you want. It's that the universe is you pushed out, and it must reflect back to you the states you persist in assuming. But let me warn you about the most common mistake people make when they begin to apply this law. They assume their desired state for a few minutes or hours, and then they go back to their old assumptions. They feel wealthy during their meditation, and then they worry about money for the rest of the day. They imagine their perfect relationship, and then they feel lonely and desperate. They visualize their success, and then they complain about their current circumstances. This inconsistency is what keeps people trapped in cycles of hope and disappointment. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot assume wealth and poverty, love and loneliness, success and failure. You must choose one state and remain faithful to it. This requires discipline, not the discipline of forcing you to do something you don't want to do, but the discipline of choosing your state moment by moment throughout the day. Here's a practical technique that will transform your manifestation ability. Throughout the day, catch yourself in your assumptions. Notice when you're assuming lack, limitation, or undesired states. The moment you catch yourself, pause and ask, what would I be feeling if I already had what I want? Then shift into that feeling immediately. Don't wait for the right time or the right place. Do it now wherever you are, whatever you're doing. This constant returning to your desired state is what I call living in the end. Living in the end means thinking from your desire rather than thinking of your desire. When you think of your desire, you're acknowledging that you don't have it. When you think from your desire, you're assuming you already have it. This shift in perspective is the difference between wishful thinking and actual creation. Let me illustrate this with a concrete example. Suppose you want to manifest a new home. Most people visualize the home they want. They make vision boards, they look at pictures online, they drive by houses they admire. All of this is thinking of their desire. But living in the end means thinking from the assumption that you already live in your perfect home. What would you be thinking about if you already lived there? You'd be thinking about arranging the furniture, about inviting friends over, about your morning routine in your new space. You'd be thinking from the assumption of ownership, not from the desire to own. This shift in thinking automatically shifts your feeling, and your feeling is what creates your reality. When you think from your desire, you feel the naturalness of having it. You feel the peace that comes with fulfillment. You feel the confidence that comes with success. And these feelings impressed upon the universe through your assumption must manifest as corresponding conditions in your world. But I want to address something that troubles many people who are learning this law. They ask, if I assume I already have what I want, won't I become complacent? Won't I stop taking action? This reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of how creation works. Action is not the cause of manifestation, it's the effect. When you truly assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you will be compelled to take the right actions naturally and effortlessly. The universe will present you with opportunities, ideas, and inspirations that align with your assumption. People will come into your life who can help you. Circumstances will arrange themselves in your favor. But all of this happens automatically when you maintain your assumption. You don't have to figure out how your desire will manifest. You don't have to plan every step or control every detail. Your job is simply to assume the state and let the universe handle the details. This brings me to another crucial point about manifestation. You must be willing to let your desire manifest in ways you didn't expect. Most people have very specific ideas about how their desire should come to pass. They want their wealth to come from a particular source, their love to arrive in a specific form, their success to happen in a predetermined way. But the universe is infinitely creative, and it will often manifest your desires through channels you never imagined. Be open to the unexpected. Be willing to receive your good in ways that surprise you. When you lock yourself into specific methods or timelines, you're actually limiting the universe's ability to deliver. Trust that the universe knows the best way to give you what you want. And trust that it will happen at the perfect time and in the perfect way. Now, Let me share with you the most powerful manifestation technique I know. It's deceptively simple, yet profoundly effective. Every night before you fall asleep, construct a scene that implies the fulfillment of your desire. Make it short, make it simple, make it natural. Don't create an elaborate drama or a complex scenario. Just a brief, believable scene that you would experience if your desire were already fulfilled. For example, if you want to manifest wealth, you might imagine a friend congratulating you on your financial success. If you want to manifest love, you might imagine wearing a wedding ring and feeling the contentment of a happy marriage. If you want to manifest health, you might imagine your doctor telling you that your test results are perfect. The key is to create a scene that you would naturally experience if your desire were already a reality. Once you have your scene, repeat it over and over in your imagination as you fall asleep. Feel yourself in the scene. See it through your own eyes. Hear the sounds, feel the sensations, experience the emotions. Make it as real and as natural as possible. Then here's the crucial part. Fall asleep in that scene. Let it be the last thing in your consciousness as you drift off to sleep. Why is this so powerful? Because the subconscious mind is most receptive to impressions just before sleep. In this drowsy state, your critical mind relaxes its guard, and your imagination can impress your desired state directly onto your subconscious. Your subconscious doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's imagined. It accepts whatever you impress upon it as true, and then it works day and night to make that impression manifest in your world. But you must be consistent. You must repeat your scene night after night until it feels completely natural. Don't change the scene every night. Don't elaborate or add with the sake with state with comes as strength with you or something that when you can think of your scene with the same feeling of naturalness that you have for any real memory, you'll know that your assumption has been accepted by your subconscious mind. Some of you might be wondering, how long will it take for my desire to manifest? This is the wrong question to ask. Time doesn't exist in the fourth dimension where your desire already exists. When you ask about timing, you're focusing on the absence of your desire rather than its presence. Instead of asking when, ask yourself if you're truly living in the end. Are you consistently assuming your desired state? Are you feeling the naturalness of having what you want? If not, then focus on perfecting your assumption rather than worrying about timing. However, I will tell you this, the universe always delivers at the perfect time. Sometimes manifestations happen quickly within days or weeks. Sometimes they take months or even years. The timing depends on many factors, including the magnitude of your desire, the strength of your assumption, and the bridge of incidents that must unfold to bring your desire into manifestation. Trust the process and trust the timing. While you're waiting for your desire to manifest, pay attention to the signs that it's on its way. These signs might be subtle at first. You might notice opportunities opening up, people coming into your life who are connected to your desire or circumstances beginning to shift in your favor. Don't dismiss these signs as coincidences. They're evidence that your assumption is working, that the universe is responding to your creative power. But here's what you must not do. Don't become so focused on looking for signs that you forget to maintain your assumption. Some people become so obsessed with finding evidence of their manifestation that they actually reinforce their doubt. They're constantly checking to see if it's working, constantly analyzing whether they're making progress. This kind of monitoring comes from a lack of faith in the law. When you truly understand that assumption creates reality, you don't need to look for signs. You know that your assumption is already creating the conditions for your desire to manifest. You feel the confidence that comes from knowing you're using an immutable law of the universe. You rest in the certainty that what you have assumed must come to pass. This doesn't mean you should ignore the signs when they appear. By all means, acknowledge them and be grateful for them. But don't depend on them for your confidence. Your confidence should come from your understanding of the law, not from external evidence. The law works whether you see signs or not, whether you feel it working or not, whether you believe it's working or not. It works because it's a law, and laws are impersonal and reliable. I want to address one more obstacle that prevents many people from manifesting successfully. They make their manifestation more important than their state of being. They become so focused on getting what they want that they forget to be who they need to be. But manifestation is not about getting, it's about becoming. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. If you want to manifest wealth, you must become the kind of person who naturally has wealth. If you want to manifest love, you must become the kind of person who naturally experiences love. If you want to manifest success, you must become the kind of person who naturally achieves success. This becoming happens in your imagination first, through your assumptions about yourself. Ask yourself, what kind of person has what I want? How do they think? How do they feel? How do they carry themselves? How do they interact with others? How do they view the world? Then begin to think, feel, and act from that state of being. Don't try to become that person. Assume you already are that person. Let this assumption permeate every aspect of your consciousness. This is why I emphasize the importance of living in the end. When you live in the end, you're not just imagining having what you want. You're becoming the person who has what you want. You're assuming the thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that are natural to that person. And as you persist in this assumption, you become that person more and more completely. The beautiful thing about this process is that it transforms you even before your desire manifests. You begin to experience the confidence, the peace, and the joy that come with having what you want. You begin to see yourself and your world differently. You begin to attract different experiences and different people into your life. The manifestation of your specific desire is almost secondary to the transformation of your consciousness. But let me be clear about something. This is not about pretending or putting on an act. It's not about fake it till you make it. It's about genuinely shifting your state of consciousness, genuinely assuming a new identity, genuinely feeling yourself to be the person who has what you want. This shift must be real and authentic, not just a performance you put on for others. The way to make this shift authentic is through the consistent use of your imagination. Every day, spend time in your imagination, living as the person you want to be. See yourself in situations that would be natural for that person. Feel the emotions that person would feel. Think the thoughts that person would think. Make this imagined identity more real to you than your current circumstances. As you do this, you'll find that your outer behavior begins to change naturally. You'll start making decisions that align with your desired identity. You'll start attracting opportunities that match your new state of consciousness. You'll start experiencing synchronicities and seeming coincidences that support your assumption. This is the universe responding to your changed state of being. Now, I want to share with you the secret that makes manifestation not just possible, but inevitable. It's the secret that ensures the universe has no choice but to deliver what you've assumed. This secret is the understanding that there is only one consciousness in the universe, and that consciousness is yours. Everything you see, everyone you meet, every experience you have is your own consciousness pushed out. This means that when you change your consciousness, you automatically change your world. You don't have to convince anyone else of your new reality. You don't have to get anyone's permission or cooperation. You don't have to overcome external obstacles or fight against opposing forces. You simply have to change your consciousness, and your world must change to match it. This is why I say the universe has no choice but to deliver. The universe is not separate from you, it is you. Your consciousness is the universe. When you assume a new state of being, you are not asking the universe to give you something. You're commanding it to reflect your new state, and it must obey because it has no choice. It's not an external force that might or might not cooperate with your wishes. It's the very substance of your own being projected outward as your experience. Once you truly grasp this principle, manifestation becomes effortless. You stop struggling against your circumstances and start simply assuming better ones. You stop trying to change your world and start changing your consciousness, knowing that your world must follow. You stop being a victim of your experiences and start being the creator of them. But this power comes with responsibility. When you understand that your consciousness creates your reality, you can no longer blame anyone or anything for your experiences. You can no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstances beyond your control. You must take full responsibility for everything in your life, the good and the bad, the wanted and the unwanted. This might seem like a heavy burden at first, but it's actually the most liberating truth you could ever learn. If your consciousness has created everything in your life, then your consciousness can change everything in your life. There's no situation so difficult, no problem so complex, no desire so grand that your consciousness cannot handle it. You have the power to transform any aspect of your life simply by changing your assumptions about it. The key is to start where you are and begin making small shifts in your consciousness. Don't try to change everything at once. Pick one area of your life that you want to improve and focus on changing your assumptions about that area. As you see the results of your changed consciousness, your faith in the law will grow, and you'll be able to tackle bigger and more challenging manifestations. Remember, every assumption you make is creating your future. Every thought you think, every feeling you feel, every state you occupy is setting the stage for what you'll experience tomorrow. This is why it's so important to be conscious of your consciousness, to be deliberate about the states you assume, to be intentional about the reality you're creating. Most people are unconscious creators. They assume states randomly based on their circumstances, their moods, their fears, or their past experiences. They create by default rather than by design. But you now have the knowledge to become a conscious creator, to deliberately choose the states you want to experience, to intentionally create the reality you desire. This consciousness is your inheritance. This power is your birthright. You are born to be a creator, to shape reality through the power of your imagination, to manifest your desires through the law of assumption. Don't let anyone convince you that this power is not yours, that you're not worthy of it, or that it's too good to be true. Test it for yourself. Prove it in your own experience. Use it to create the life you've always wanted. As I conclude tonight, I want to leave you with this truth. The universe is not holding back your good. It's not testing you or punishing you or making you wait until you're worthy. The universe is ready to deliver your every desire the moment you assume it's already yours. The only thing standing between you and your dreams is your willingness to assume they're already fulfilled. So I challenge you to leave here tonight with a new understanding of your power and a new commitment to using it. Choose one desire that you want to manifest. Create a simple scene that implies its fulfillment. Fall asleep in that scene tonight and every night until it feels as real as any memory. Live from the assumption that it's already yours. Feel the naturalness of having it and watch as the universe rearranges itself to match your assumption. The universe is waiting for your command. Your consciousness is the creative power of the world. Your imagination is the workshop where your desires become reality. Use this power wisely, use it consistently, use it with confidence. And remember, when you truly assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the universe has no choice but to deliver.
The universe is responding to you right now. Yes, right in this very moment, the energies of the universe are aligning themselves with your thoughts, your feelings, and your desires. You may not see it yet, but everything is unfolding in perfect harmony with the vibrations you're sending out. You might feel uncertain or even doubt this truth, but know this: what you experience today is the result of what you believed in the past. The miracle you are waiting for, the blessing you've been praying for, is not somewhere out of reach. It's right here in the realm of possibility, and it's coming closer with every breath you take. Every thought you hold, every emotion you feel, is a magnet pulling that miracle toward you. The universe is not distant, not detached from your desires, but intimately connected to them. It is already answering your call. You must begin to see the reality you wish to manifest in your mind's eye as if it's already here. The key to unlocking your miracle is to live as if it is already done. Your imagination is your power. What you see in your mind is already taking shape in the unseen. As you trust in this, as you affirm this truth, the universe begins to rearrange everything around you to bring that reality into your life. The world around you is not as solid as it may seem. It is malleable, responsive to the deepest desires of your heart. When you believe that your miracle is already on its way, when you believe that you are worthy of it, the universe has no choice but to manifest it for you. Right now, as you focus on the greatness you want to experience, the circumstances of your life begin to shift. You might not see it with your physical eyes yet, but trust that the forces at play are working for your good. The power of your inner state creates the outer world you live in. By seeing your miracle already in existence, you are commanding the universe to respond with the exact circumstances needed for its manifestation. You have been prepared for this moment. This is the moment where your belief, your feeling of certainty, will open the door to what you have asked for. The universe is never far from you, it is right here, responding to every thought, every feeling, every belief you carry. There are no coincidences, no random events. Everything is designed to bring you into alignment with your highest good. It doesn't matter how things look right now, or how long you've been waiting. What matters is that you believe it is already yours. The miracle you desire is already within your reach. As you continue to feel that it is so, it begins to materialize in ways you cannot yet understand. Trust in this process. Trust that the universe is always working with you, not against you. Your miracle is happening right now, and it's a reflection of your inner state. Everything that seems difficult, every challenge you faced, has prepared you for this moment. You are ready, and the universe is answering your call. As you hold the vision of your heart's desire, stay open and expect the miracle. It is coming, and it is already here. The universe is responding to your thoughts and feelings in every moment, whether you are aware of it or not. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, and every belief you hold creates a vibration that the universe picks up on. This is not a distant, abstract concept. It is a universal law that governs the way the world works. What you focus on expands, and what you give your energy to will begin to manifest in your reality. The universe is not indifferent or separate from your experiences. It is intimately connected to your inner state. At this very moment, the energy you are emitting is being reflected back to you through the circumstances and experiences you encounter. If you are filled with doubt, fear, or negativity, that energy will attract experiences that match those emotions. Conversely, if you are aligned with feelings of love, gratitude, and positivity, the universe will respond with circumstances that mirror those emotions. This is the power of the law of attraction at work. The universe does not discriminate. It does not judge your desires or decide if you are worthy of them. It only responds to the energy you put out. This means that the very thoughts and emotions you hold are sending a message into the universe, and that message is being answered. If you believe that success, happiness, or love are impossible for you, the universe will confirm that belief through situations that reinforce that limitation. On the other hand, when you embrace the belief that everything you desire is already on its way, you will begin to see signs of that desire manifesting in your life. One of the most powerful things you can do is to become conscious of your inner dialogue and emotional state. The more aware you become of the thoughts and feelings that dominate your mind, the more you can choose to shift them in the direction of your desires. For instance, if you are thinking thoughts of lack or limitation, consciously redirecting those thoughts toward abundance and possibility will send a new signal to the universe. It is important to remember that you are always in communication with the universe. Your thoughts are like prayers, your feelings are like commands, and the universe is always listening. The universe doesn't need you to be perfect or always in a positive state, but it does require you to be aware of the vibrations you are putting out. Even in moments of doubt or fear, you have the power to shift your energy and choose a new focus. This doesn't mean denying your emotions, but rather understanding that you have the ability to choose which emotions you want to cultivate and which ones you want to release. When you begin to consciously focus on thoughts and emotions that align with your desires, you start to shift your vibrational frequency. The universe, in turn, begins to respond to that frequency. It's like tuning a radio to the right station. Once you find the right frequency, you will hear the music clearly. Similarly, when you align your inner state with your desires, the universe begins to deliver the experiences and opportunities that match that energy. The response from the universe is always there, but it is up to you to tune into the right frequency. The moment you decide to focus on what you want, rather than what you fear or what you lack, you begin to attract more of what you desire. Your miracle is already on its way, even if you don't see it yet. The truth is, everything in life works in cycles of unseen energy before it manifests in the physical world. What may seem like a delay or a gap between desire and fulfillment is simply the period in which the universe is aligning all the necessary components for your miracle to come together. Often we are taught to believe that the moment we ask for something, it should appear immediately. But this is not the way the universe operates. It is always in motion, rearranging, organizing, and aligning people, circumstances, and opportunities in ways that our limited perception cannot always grasp. The reality is that your desires have already been acknowledged by the universe the moment you spoke them or thought them into existence. The universe does not hesitate or doubt your worthiness. It does not question whether you are deserving of what you want. The only thing that determines when your miracle will manifest is your alignment with the feeling of already having it. As you continue to focus on your desire, trust that the unseen forces are already at work, moving things into place, even if the manifestation is not visible to you at the moment. There are countless unseen forces that are working in your favor, things you cannot control or influence directly, but are essential for the creation of your miracle. For instance, people are being moved into your path right now, opportunities are being set up, and circumstances are shifting all around you in ways that align with your desires. What often happens is that your mind becomes attached to the idea that things should happen on your schedule. You look at the clock and think that your miracle should be arriving right now. But miracles, by nature, often work on a timeline far greater than our human comprehension. What seems like a delay is often a period of preparation, a moment in which the universe is aligning all the right components for you, in the perfect timing for your growth and success. It's essential to understand that everything happens in divine order. If things have not manifested yet, it doesn't mean they are not on their way. It simply means that you are being prepared. The stage is being set for your miracle to come in a way that is truly transformative. There is no such thing as a missed opportunity when it comes to the universe. What is meant for you cannot pass you by. It is coming to you in its own perfect timing. The universe is not in a rush, and neither should you be. As you trust in the unfolding process, you release the need for immediate gratification and allow things to happen in their natural course. Sometimes we get caught up in the illusion of waiting for something to appear in front of us. But what we often fail to see is that the miracle is already unfolding in the unseen world. The question isn't whether it will come, but rather whether you can hold the faith that it is already in motion. When you release resistance and stop forcing the outcome, you allow the miracle to flow to you in the way it was meant to. It's not about pushing harder or trying to make things happen on your own. It's about allowing, trusting, and knowing that the universe is already delivering what you need at the perfect moment. The key is to stay grounded in the knowing that your miracle is coming to you. Even if the manifestation isn't visible yet, it is working its way toward you. The more you trust and feel the reality of it in your heart, the faster it will appear in your life. Patience is not a passive act, but an active choice to align with the belief that everything is already on its way. Your miracle is not distant, not delayed, it is merely on its way, and your trust in this process is what accelerates its arrival. Believing your desire is already fulfilled unlocks the universe's power. This is one of the most profound and transformative truths that can change your life. When you hold the belief that what you desire has already manifested, you shift your vibration to match that of the desired outcome. It's not enough to simply wish for something or hope it will come to you. You must embody the belief that it is already yours. The moment you do this, you align your energy with the frequency of the manifestation, and the universe begins to bring it to you. The universe operates on the principle of faith, and when you believe in the reality of your desire, you demonstrate faith in the unseen forces that are always at work. This is not blind faith, it's a deep, knowing feeling that what you desire is already here. When you begin to see your dream as a present reality, you are no longer waiting for it to happen, you are living in the space where it has already happened. This creates an energetic magnet for your desires, because the universe responds to the emotions you generate, not just your thoughts. If you are vibrating with joy, gratitude, and excitement about your desire, the universe can't help but deliver it to you. Many people make the mistake of waiting for their desires to manifest before they believe they are worthy of them, or before they feel the emotions associated with their fulfillment. But in truth, the universe works in the opposite way. You must first feel that your desire is already fulfilled before it can come into your life. The key is to trust that the moment you decide that something is already yours, the process of its manifestation is set into motion. The more you align your emotions with that belief, the more quickly the universe responds. Living in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled is a powerful tool. It shifts your mindset from a place of lack to one of abundance. You stop looking for external evidence of your desires and start trusting that the evidence already exists in the unseen realm. As you embody this belief, you begin to act in accordance with your new reality. You make choices, take actions, and think thoughts that align with the reality you want to create. This alignment attracts opportunities, resources, and people that match the vibration of your belief. In essence, you become a magnet for your desires by operating from the assumption that what you want is already in your life. This shift in mindset requires courage, for it asks you to step into the unknown and believe in something before you see it. It requires you to trust that the universe is always responding to your energy. However, this trust is what accelerates the process. When you live from the place of already having your desire, you stop questioning or doubting its arrival. Doubt is the enemy of manifestation because it sends mixed signals to the universe. When you trust that your desire is already fulfilled, you stop waiting and start living in the joy of its presence. You see, the universe responds to your emotional state more than anything else. Your emotions are the true indicator of your vibrational frequency. By feeling joy, gratitude, and love for your desire, you elevate your energy to a higher state of alignment. As you feel your desire as a present reality, the universe must respond with the circumstances, people, and experiences that align with this vibration. This is not magic, it is the law of attraction at work. It's the simple, yet profound truth that what you believe and feel, you will receive. So the key to unlocking the universe's power is to live in the belief that your desire has already manifested. Feel the joy of your desire as though it's already in your life, and trust that the universe is aligning everything in your favor to bring it to fruition. As you do, you'll witness the universe responding to you in ways you never imagined, bringing your deepest desires into your life with ease. The world around you is malleable and responds to your inner state in ways that are often invisible to the naked eye. The belief that the external world is fixed and unchangeable is an illusion. In reality, the world is constantly shifting, adapting, and reorganizing itself based on the energy we project into it. Your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are like the seeds that plant themselves in the soil of the universe, and the world reflects back what you have sown. Every moment, the universe is responding to you, even when you are unaware of it. Your inner world creates your outer world, and by altering your inner state, you have the power to influence the circumstances of your life. When you shift your perception and understand that the world around you is a reflection of your inner state, you begin to realize that you are not simply a passive observer of life, you are an active creator. The external world is constantly responding to the vibration you send out. If you are filled with fear, doubt, or negativity, the world will mirror those feelings back to you, reinforcing the belief that life is difficult or unkind. However, if you choose to focus on love, trust, and gratitude, you will begin to see the world around you shift in ways that support these feelings. The more you change your internal state, the more the world around you adjusts to match it. One of the most powerful ways to influence the world around you is through your belief system. Beliefs are the lenses through which you view life, and they directly affect the way you perceive the world. If you believe that opportunities are limited, that people are untrustworthy, or that life is a struggle, your perception will create a reality where these beliefs are reinforced. However, when you shift your beliefs to align with abundance, love, and possibility, your perception of the world changes, and you begin to attract experiences that match this new belief system. The external world becomes a playground for your inner state, and opportunities that once seemed out of reach begin to unfold effortlessly. Your emotions are another key factor in how the world responds to you. Emotions are powerful signals that communicate your internal vibration to the universe. When you feel joy, excitement, or love, you are sending a message to the universe that you are in alignment with your desires. The universe, in turn, responds by bringing you more reasons to feel these emotions. Similarly, when you are feeling angry, frustrated, or anxious, the universe will bring you experiences that mirror these emotions. Understanding this principle gives you the power to direct your energy in ways that create the outcomes you desire. By consciously choosing to cultivate positive emotions, you influence the way the world interacts with you. The idea that the world around you is malleable also extends to your physical reality. You can begin to see your environment as a reflection of your inner state. If you are unhappy with your surroundings, whether it's your job, your home, or your relationships, the first step is to examine your inner state. The changes you seek in the outer world begin within you. When you shift your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions, you begin to see the world around you transform. The people you interact with, the opportunities you encounter, and the circumstances you face all begin to align with your new inner state. The universe, being a reflection of you, has no choice but to mirror back what you are feeling and thinking. The more consciously you begin to direct your thoughts and emotions, the more you will see how the world around you shifts in response. By realizing that the world is malleable, you take back your power as a creator. You are not a victim of circumstances, you are the architect of your reality. When you master your inner state and maintain a vibration that aligns with your desires, the world becomes an open field of possibilities, waiting to be shaped by your energy. As you begin to understand that the universe is responding to you right now, you must realize that your thoughts have power, far beyond what you may have previously believed. Every thought you think, every belief you hold, is like a command sent out into the world. These thoughts are the building blocks of your reality. The universe doesn't respond to what you want or desire with words, it responds to the energy you emit. What you think about consistently, you begin to attract. This is not just wishful thinking, it's the fundamental law of creation. The energy that is emitted by your thoughts becomes a magnetic force that draws experiences, opportunities, and people into your life that match that frequency. For example, if you are constantly thinking about lack or fear, you are attracting more situations into your life that validate these feelings. On the other hand, when you focus your thoughts on abundance, possibility, and love, the universe responds by sending experiences that reflect those higher frequencies. The more you consciously choose your thoughts, the more you begin to shape the world around you. It's important to recognize that your thoughts are not isolated events. Every thought is connected to a broader stream of consciousness. The energy that you send out affects not just your own personal world, but the collective world as well. This means that when you think thoughts of love, peace, and hope, you are contributing to a larger collective shift toward those very qualities. Conversely, negative or fearful thoughts not only influence your own life but ripple out, contributing to the energy around you. This is why it is so important to be mindful of your thoughts, for they have far-reaching consequences, both on your life and on the world as a whole. To shift your reality, you must master your thinking patterns. The universe responds to consistency. If your thoughts are scattered or inconsistent, the universe will respond to that too. But when you consistently focus on thoughts that align with your desires, you begin to see rapid changes in your life. It's not about thinking about what you want for a moment and then reverting back to old thought patterns. It's about consistently holding the vision of your desired reality, no matter what the circumstances around you might look like. This is when true transformation begins to take place. The universe is always in motion, always responsive. This means that when you focus your attention on your desires, when you think and feel as if they have already manifested, the universe begins to rearrange itself to bring that vision into your life. It's like planting a seed in the ground. Once the seed is planted, the soil begins to work to nourish it, even though you cannot see the roots growing beneath the surface. Similarly, the universe begins to organize and align the people, opportunities, and circumstances around you when you hold the belief that your desire is already in motion. However, you must also be patient. Often the universe works in ways that you cannot see, and you may not always get immediate results. It may seem as though nothing is happening, but trust that beneath the surface, there is a flurry of activity. The universe is always responding to your thoughts, even when it appears that nothing is happening on the outside. The key is to trust the process, to believe that your thoughts are creating the reality you desire, and to remain in alignment with your vision no matter what external circumstances arise. The universe is not slow or hesitant in responding, it simply responds to the energy and frequency you emit. By being mindful of your thoughts, maintaining a positive and abundant mindset, and holding the vision of your desires as already fulfilled, you align yourself with the force that is always working on your behalf. Your thoughts are the key that unlocks the door to your desires, and as you align with that energy, the universe has no choice but to bring your desires into your life. The key to receiving the miracles and manifestations you desire lies in your ability to trust that they are already on their way. Trust is the foundation of every successful manifestation. It's not enough to just believe that your desires are possible, you must trust that they are already being shaped and delivered by the universe. Trusting in the process means surrendering the need to control every detail of how and when your desires will appear. It's about having unwavering faith that once you set your intention, the universe begins to organize everything in alignment with your desires. When you truly trust in the process of manifestation, you release the urgency and pressure of needing things to happen on your timeline. The need for control often comes from a place of fear or doubt, fear that your desires may never come to fruition, or doubt in your own worthiness of receiving them. But true trust comes from letting go of these limiting beliefs and knowing deep down that the universe is always working for your highest good. The more you trust, the more you allow the universe to work its magic. Trust is an invitation for the universe to step in and bring you what you asked for in a way that may even surpass your expectations. When you release the need for control, you are able to move forward with a sense of peace and confidence, knowing that all is well. This trust is not passive, but rather an active choice to live as if everything is unfolding perfectly, even before you can see the physical evidence. When you trust, you take inspired action toward your desires without needing to see immediate results. You remain aligned with the belief that your desire is already on its way, and that belief shapes the energy you send out. This energy attracts the right circumstances, people, and events, aligning your reality with the fulfillment of your dreams. Sometimes the process of manifestation requires you to trust through moments of uncertainty, when things may seem to be moving slowly or not at all. These moments are often tests of faith, but they are also opportunities to deepen your trust. It's during these times that you must remember that the universe operates in ways that are often unseen. Just because you cannot see the movement doesn't mean the universe isn't working behind the scenes. Trusting during the quiet times means knowing that your desires are being nurtured in unseen ways, and everything is happening in perfect timing. Trust is also deeply connected to gratitude. When you trust that the universe is always working in your favor, you naturally begin to feel grateful for the journey, the lessons, and the experiences that are leading you toward your manifestation. Gratitude amplifies the positive energy you are sending out, and the more grateful you are for what you have and for what is on its way, the faster your desires will come to fruition. By feeling gratitude for what you do not yet see, you align your energy with abundance, inviting more of it into your life. To cultivate trust, remind yourself daily that everything is working out in your favor. Practice affirmations that reinforce your belief in the universe's ability to deliver your desires. Trust is not something that happens overnight, but it is something that you can nurture by consistently choosing to believe that what you desire is already on its way. As you grow in trust, you will begin to see the signs, synchronicities, and miracles that confirm your desires are in motion. And when the miracles come, you will have cultivated such deep trust that you will know that the universe has always been responding to you, shaping your life in beautiful and extraordinary ways. The universe is always responding to you, shaping your reality in alignment with your inner state, thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. Your thoughts are the seeds that plant the future, and every moment, the universe is working behind the scenes to bring your desires into fruition. By shifting your focus, choosing positive emotions, and maintaining unwavering trust, you unlock the power within you to manifest the life you've always dreamed of. Trust in the process, knowing that what you desire is already on its way, even when the external world doesn't show immediate results. Keep your mind focused, your heart open, and your spirit aligned with the belief that miracles are already unfolding in your life. The universe is responding to you right now, so get ready for the miracles that are about to manifest.
Tonight I shall share with you 7 principles that, when properly understood and applied, will transform your entire world in a single day. Not in a year, not in a month, but in one day. For you see, transformation does not require time, it requires understanding. Let me share with you these 7 principles that revolutionized my understanding and instantaneously transformed my world. But before I share them, you must understand that these are not mere techniques or strategies. These are divine principles that reveal the very nature of reality itself. The first principle is this: your consciousness is the only reality. Not your thoughts, not your emotions, but your consciousness, your I am-ness. This principle, when truly understood, will shake the very foundation of your world. For you see, what you are conscious of being, you must become. Consider the words of Scripture. Be still and know that I am God. Notice it doesn't say become God or try to be God. It says know that I am God. This knowing, this consciousness is the first principle that will transform your world instantly when truly grasped. Many of you come to me asking how long it takes to change your life. But I tell you now, when you grasp this first principle, that your consciousness is the only reality, change is instantaneous. For you see, you don't become what you want, you become what you are conscious of being. The second principle is this: the world is yourself pushed out. Everything you see, everything you experience, every person you meet, all of it is yourself pushed out. This is not philosophy, this is law. When you truly understand this principle, you will never again blame circumstances or other people. Let me share with you how this second principle works. When you look at your world, you are not seeing something separate from yourself. You are seeing your consciousness made visible. Your financial situation, your relationships, your health, all of it is your consciousness pushed up. Consider this carefully. If you don't like what you see in your world, you don't try to change the world. You change your consciousness, and the world must change to reflect it. For the world has no choice but to reflect your consciousness. It is yourself pushed out. The third principle is this: the feeling is the secret. Not the words you speak, not the actions you take, but the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This principle, when properly understood, eliminates all struggle and effort from manifestation. Let me share with you what I mean by feeling. I am not speaking of emotion or sensation. I am speaking of the feeling of naturalness, the feeling of your wish fulfilled. When you have this feeling, you have the secret of creation itself. Consider how you feel about your own name. You don't hope it's your name. You don't affirm it's your name. You simply feel the naturalness of it being your name. This is the feeling I'm speaking of. When you can feel this same naturalness about your desire, you have mastered the third principle. The fourth principle is this: everyone is yourself pushed out. Not metaphorically, not symbolically, but literally. Every person you encounter is playing the role that your consciousness has assigned them. When you grasp this principle, relationships transform instantly. Let me share with you how this fourth principle works in practice. If someone is treating you unkindly, you don't try to change their behavior. You change your consciousness of them, and they must change to reflect your new consciousness. For they have no choice, they are yourself pushed out. Consider this carefully. When you say that person is against me, you are really saying, I am conscious of being someone against whom that person is set. change your consciousness, and they must change their behavior. The fifth principle is this: there is no such thing as time in consciousness. The future is not ahead of you waiting to happen. It exists now in your consciousness. When you grasp this principle, all sense of waiting and delay disappears. Let me share with you why this principle is so transformative. Most people think their desire takes time to manifest. But I tell you now, time is not a factor in manifestation. What matters is the intensity of your consciousness, not the duration of your waiting. Consider the words of Scripture before they call, I will answer. This is telling you that your desire already exists in consciousness. Your task is not to create it, but to accept it as already existing now. The sixth principle is this: revision is creation. What you call the past is simply memory, and memory can be revised. When you revise the past in imagination, you literally recreate your world. This principle, when properly understood, gives you complete freedom from the tyranny of past events. Let me share with you how this sixth principle works. If you don't like something that happened today, you don't try to forget it or overcome it. Instead, you revise it in your imagination. See it happening differently. Feel it happening differently. And that revision becomes the truth in consciousness. Consider this: your present circumstances are the result of your past thoughts and feelings. Change those past thoughts and feelings through revision, and you must change your present circumstances. The seventh and final principle is this: your imaginal acts become facts. What you imagine with feeling, what you accept as true in consciousness, must become facts in your world. This principle, when properly understood, eliminates all doubt and uncertainty about manifestation. Let me share with you how these 7 principles work together to transform your life in a single day. First, you must understand that these principles are not sequential. They are simultaneous. They are all operating in your life right now, whether you're aware of them or not. Consider how the first principle, consciousness is the only reality, works with the second principle. The world is yourself pushed out. When you really grasp these together, you realize that every single thing you're conscious of must express itself in your world. Let me give you a perfect example from Scripture. When Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life, he was demonstrating these principles. He was conscious of being the way, first principle, and his world had to reflect that consciousness, second principle. Now let's see how the third principle, the feeling is a secret, works with the fourth principle. Everyone is yourself pushed out. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, everyone in your world must play their part to bring about that fulfillment. They have no choice, for they are yourself pushed out. Many of you may be thinking, but Neville, how can these principles transform my life in just one day? Let me tell you something. Transformation doesn't require time, it requires acceptance. When you truly accept these principles, transformation is instantaneous. Consider how the fifth principle, there is no time in consciousness, works with the sixth principle, revision is creation. Because there is no time in consciousness, you can revise any event, any circumstance, any relationship right now. And that revision must manifest in your world. Let me share with you how the seventh principle, imaginal acts become facts, ties all of these together. When you imagine with feeling, accepting your consciousness as the only reality, seeing the world as yourself pushed out, knowing there is no time, and revising what needs to be revised, your imaginal act must become a fact. But, and this is crucial, you must apply these principles from understanding, not from hope or wish. Most people try to use these principles while still believing in external causes. But I tell you now, there are no external causes. All causes lie in consciousness. Let me share with you what I call the 4 stages of applying these principles. Most people fail because they don't understand these stages, and therefore they abandon the principles before transformation can occur. The first stage is understanding. This is where you truly grasp that these principles are not techniques or methods, but laws of consciousness as exact as mathematics. When you understand them at this level, you stop questioning whether they will work and start questioning whether you're applying them correctly. The second stage is acceptance. This is where you move beyond intellectual understanding to genuine acceptance of these principles as the only reality. When you reach this stage, you no longer need proof or evidence. You know these principles are true just as you know your own name. The third stage is application. But then this is crucial. This is not the mechanical application that most people attempt. This is the natural, effortless application that comes from understanding and acceptance. When you reach this stage, you're no longer trying to make things happen. You're allowing them to happen according to law. The fourth stage is transformation. This is where your entire world begins to reflect your new understanding. Not gradually, not eventually, but instantly. For you see, when you truly understand, accept, and apply these principles, transformation must follow. It is law. Let me share with you how each of the 7 principles operates at each stage. Take the first principle, consciousness is the only reality. At the understanding stage, you grasp this intellectually. At the acceptance stage, you know it is truth. At the application stage, you live from it. At the transformation stage, your world reflects it. Consider how the second principle, the world is yourself pushed out, works through these stages. At understanding, you see the logic of it. At acceptance, you know it as fact. At application, you take full responsibility for your world. At transformation, your world reshapes itself to match your consciousness. Many of you may be wondering about the role of time in these stages. Let me tell you something, time is only involved in the understanding stage. Once you move to acceptance, time ceases to be a factor. For you see, acceptance, application, and transformation are all aspects of the eternal now. Let me share with you how the third principle, the feeling is the secret, operates through these 4 stages. At the understanding stage, you grasp that feeling is more powerful than thought. At the acceptance stage, you know that feeling is the very substance of creation. At the application stage, you naturally occupy the feeling of your wish fulfilled. At the transformation stage, your world rearranges itself to match your feeling. Consider this carefully. Most people try to feel after they see evidence of their desire. But I tell you now, feeling must precede evidence. This is why the third principle is so transformative. It reverses the common approach to manifestation. Let me show you how the fourth principle, everyone is yourself pushed out, works through these stages. At understanding, you see how others reflect your consciousness. At acceptance, you know they must reflect your consciousness. At application, you naturally revise your consciousness of others. At transformation, they instantly begin to reflect your revised consciousness. Many of you may be thinking, but Neville, what if others have free will? Let me tell you something my teacher Abdullah taught me. There is only one consciousness individualizing all of humanity. Therefore, what you call others' free will is really your consciousness of them pushed out. Consider how the fifth principle, there is no time in consciousness, operates through these stages. At understanding, you grasp that time is psychological, not chronological. At acceptance, you know that now is the only reality. At application, you naturally live from the end. At transformation, your desired future becomes your present reality. Let me share with you what happened when I first grasped this principle. I saw that all my waiting for things to manifest was actually delaying their manifestation. For you see, as long as you're waiting for something, you're pushing it into a future that never arrives. Consider how the sixth principle, revision is creation, works through these stages. At understanding, you see that memory can be changed. At acceptance, you know that revising the past changes the present. At application, you naturally revise unwanted experiences. At transformation, your revised past creates a new present. Let me share with you how the seventh principle, imaginal acts become facts, operates through these stages. At understanding, you grasp that imagination creates reality. At acceptance, you know that what you imagine must externalize itself. At application, you naturally live in your imagination. At transformation, your imaginal acts become your physical facts. Consider this carefully. When these seven principles are properly understood and applied together, they create what I call the divine circle of creation. The first principle establishes that consciousness is the only reality. The second principle shows that the world must reflect consciousness. The third principle reveals how to impress consciousness through feeling. The fourth principle demonstrates that everyone must play their part. The fifth principle eliminates time from the equation. The sixth principle allows for instant revision of unwanted states. And the seventh principle guarantees manifestation. Let me share with you the three most common mistakes people make when applying these principles. The first mistake is trying to use them as techniques rather than living them as truth. The second mistake is looking for results before fully accepting the principles. The third mistake is abandoning the principles when circumstances seem to contradict them. But I tell you now, when you truly understand these principles, you cannot make these mistakes. For you see, understanding brings acceptance. Acceptance brings application. And application brings transformation, all in a single day. Consider what happens when you truly grasp these principles. You stop trying to change things in the outer world because you know the outer world is yourself pushed out. You stop waiting for things to happen because you know there is no time in consciousness. You stop worrying about others' reactions because you know they are yourself pushed out. Let me share with you what I call the three orders of understanding these principles. The first order is intellectual understanding. You grasp them with your mind. The second order is emotional understanding. You feel their truth in your heart. The third order is spiritual understanding. You know them in your soul. Let me share with you what I call the 5 states of consciousness that these principles reveal. The first state is the state of confusion. This is where most people lie, not understanding that they are the creators of their reality. The second state is the state of awakening. This is where you begin to grasp these principles intellectually. You start to see the connection between your consciousness and your world. But be careful, many people get stuck in this state, endlessly studying but never moving to application. The third state is the state of testing. This is where you begin to apply these principles in your life. You start small, testing them in various situations. But remember, you're not really testing the principles, you're testing your understanding of them. For these principles are law, as exact as mathematics. The fourth state is the state of knowing. This is where you move beyond testing to absolute certainty. You no longer need proof because you know these principles are true, just as you know your own name is true. The fifth state is the state of being. This is where you don't just know the principles, you become them. You live from them naturally, effortlessly, continuously. This is the state from which instant transformation occurs. Consider how these states relate to the 7 principles. In the state of confusion, you don't even know these principles exist. In the state of awakening, you begin to understand them. In the state of testing, you start to apply them. In the state of knowing, you trust them completely. In the state of being, you are them. Let me share with you what happened when I moved through these states. In the state of confusion, I was like everyone else, believing in external causes, blaming circumstances, waiting for things to change. In the state of awakening, I began to see that my consciousness was creating my reality. But I wasn't yet ready to take full responsibility for it. In the state of testing, I began to apply these principles in specific situations. I would consciously revise events Imagine desired outcomes, assume the feeling of wishes fulfilled. And I saw results, but I was still separate from the principles. In the state of knowing something profound happened, I no longer needed to test these principles because I knew them as law. Just as you don't test whether gravity will work each morning, I no longer tested whether these principles would work. I knew they must work because they are law. Let me share with you what the state of being looks like. In this state, you don't try to use the principles, you live them. You don't think about consciousness being the only reality, you live from that knowing. You don't try to feel your wish fulfilled. You naturally occupy that state. Consider what happens when you reach this state of being. The 7 principles are no longer separate from you. They are you. The first principle, consciousness is the only reality, becomes your natural state of awareness. The second principle, the world is yourself pushed out, becomes your constant understanding. The third principle, the feeling is the secret, becomes your natural way of creating. The fourth principle, everyone is yourself pushed out, becomes your fundamental relationship with others. The fifth principle, there is no time in consciousness, becomes your perpetual now. The sixth principle, revision is creation, becomes your automatic response to unwanted events. And the seventh principle, imaginal acts become facts, becomes your normal way of living. Let me share with you the 3 signs that indicate you've reached the state of being. First, you no longer try to make things happen. You know they must happen according to law. Second, you no longer react to circumstances, you simply revise them. Third, you no longer wait for manifestation, you live from the end. Consider this carefully. These 7 principles transform my life in one day, not because they are magical, but because they are law. When you truly understand them, truly live them, transformation must follow. It cannot be otherwise. Let me share with you the final truth about these 7 principles. When fully understood and lived from, they eliminate what most people call problems. For you see, problems can only exist when you believe in external causes. When you know that consciousness is the only reality, that the world is yourself pushed out, that feeling is the secret, that everyone is yourself pushed out, that there is no time, that revision is creation, and that imaginal acts become facts. What problem could possibly exist? Consider this carefully. Every problem you think you have is simply a misunderstanding of these principles. If you have a financial problem, you're forgetting that consciousness is the only reality. If you have a relationship problem, you're forgetting that everyone is yourself pushed out. If you have a health problem, you're forgetting that feeling is the secret. Let me share with you what happens when you live from these principles. You stop trying to solve problems and start revising states of consciousness. You stop trying to change others and start changing your consciousness of them. You stop trying to make things happen and start living from the end. These principles transformed my life in one day because I stopped trying to use them and started living them. I stopped seeing them as tools and started seeing them as laws. I stopped applying them occasionally and started living from them continuously. Remember this, transformation doesn't take time. It takes understanding. When you truly understand these 7 principles, truly live from them, truly become them, your entire world must transform. Not because you made it happen, but because it must happen according to law. That's the message I want to leave with you tonight. These principles will transform your life in one day when you truly understand them. Not because they are magical, but because they are law. Not because they are techniques, but because they are truth. And isn't that worth thinking about? Thank you all, and good night. I want to share with you a profound truth about the nature of hatred and your relationship to it. What others feel toward you, their hatred, their judgment, their criticism, is nothing but their state of consciousness made visible. It has nothing to do with who you truly are. Let me tell you a great secret. When others hate you, they are not actually hating you. They are hating a concept they have created in their own consciousness. They are hating an imagination they have constructed. They are hating their own projection. In the Bible, it states, the world cannot hate you, but it hates me because they testify that its works are evil. This is not speaking of a physical person being hated. It is speaking of the state of consciousness that rises above the world's limitations and judgments. Consider this profound truth. When you understand that others' hatred is merely their state of consciousness externalized, you are freed from the need to change their minds or win their approval. You are liberated to occupy the state of consciousness you choose. You see, when someone expresses hatred toward you, what is really happening? They are showing you their state of consciousness. They are revealing their limitations, their fears, their own inner conflicts. Their hatred has nothing to do with you and everything to do with their state. Let me share with you what I call the law of projected consciousness. Whatever others project onto you, whether love or hate, acceptance or rejection, is merely their state of consciousness made visible. You are not the target of their hatred. You are the screen upon which they project their state. Consider this deeply when you understand this truth. Others' hatred loses its power over you. Their judgment becomes meaningless. Their criticism becomes irrelevant. For you understand that they are not seeing you, they are seeing their own state reflected back to them. Let me tell you about something I call the state of divine indifference. This is not coldness or lack of caring. This is the state where you are so secure in your own consciousness that others' opinions, whether love or hate, have no power to move you from your chosen state. This is what the scripture means when it says, let them alone, they be blessed. You don't fight against their hatred. You don't try to change their minds. You simply remain in your chosen state, allowing them to occupy whatever state they choose. Now, here is the wonderful news. Their hatred can actually serve as a confirmation that you are occupying a state beyond their current understanding. Their rejection can be a sign that you have transcended the limitations they still accept as real. Let me share with you what I call the law of transcendent consciousness. When you occupy a state that transcends others' limitations, their hatred is often automatic. They hate what they don't understand. They reject what they cannot comprehend within their current state. But remember, their hatred is their limitation, not yours. Their rejection is their boundary, not yours. Their judgment is their prison, not yours. Consider what the scripture means when it says, blessed are ye, when men shall hate you. This is not celebrating hatred. This is acknowledging that when you occupy a state beyond others' understanding, their hatred is often inevitable and ultimately irrelevant. Let me share with you another powerful truth. When you are secure in your own state of consciousness, others' hatred becomes a tool for your growth rather than a weapon for your destruction. Their rejection becomes confirmation of your transcendence rather than evidence of your unworthiness. Think about this deeply. Every great advancement in human consciousness has been met with hatred. Every expansion of human potential has been resisted. Every breakthrough has been rejected until it became the new normal. Let me share with you another profound dimension of this truth. Consider what happens in your consciousness when you encounter others' hatred. Most people make what I call the fundamental error. They try to escape the hatred, prove themselves worthy, or fight against the rejection. But I tell you this, all of these responses come from accepting their hatred as having power over you. Instead, let me share with you what I call the law of conscious elevation. When others hate you, use their hatred as a stepping stone to elevate your consciousness even higher. In the Bible, it states, love your enemies, bless them that curse you. This is not mere moral advice. This is a profound psychological law. When you can remain in a state of love while others hate, when you can maintain your chosen state while others reject you, you are demonstrating mastery over consciousness. Consider this deeply. When others hate you, they are actually giving you an opportunity to prove the power of your consciousness. They are providing you with a chance to demonstrate that external conditions have no power over your internal state. Let me share with you what I call the law of opposite assumption. When faced with hatred, instead of contracting in fear or expanding in anger, assume the exact opposite state. If they project hatred, assume love. If they project rejection, assume acceptance. If they project limitation, assume abundance. You see, most people make the mistake of meeting hatred with hatred, rejection with rejection, judgment with judgment. But I tell you this, When you do that, you are accepting and energizing the very state you wish to transcend. Consider what the scripture means when it says, "Judge not, that ye be not judged." This is not about morality. This is about the law of consciousness. Whatever state you occupy, whether judgment or acceptance, hatred or love, becomes your experience. Let me share with you what I call the state of divine detachment. This is the state where others' hatred has no power to disturb your peace, where their rejection has no ability to shake your certainty, where their judgment has no capacity to alter your chosen state. This is what the Bible means when it says, "Be in the world, but not of it." You acknowledge the existence of others' hatred while refusing to enter into its state. You recognize their rejection while remaining in your chosen state of acceptance. Think about this profound truth. When others hate you, they are actually telling you more about their limitations than about your worth. Their hatred is a declaration of their boundaries, not your value. Their rejection is a statement of their fears, not your potential. Let me share with you what I call the law of consciousness reflection. Whatever others project onto you is merely a reflection of their own consciousness. Their hatred reflects their limitations. Their rejection reflects their fears. Their judgment reflects their insecurities. But here's the wonderful news: you are not their reflection. You are not their projection. You are not their imagination. You are the pure awareness that can choose which state to occupy, regardless of their projections. Consider this deeply. When others hate you, they are actually giving you a gift. The gift of clarity about which state you choose to occupy. Will you enter their state of hatred? Or will you maintain your state of love? Will you accept their rejection? Or will you remain in acceptance? Let me share with you what I call the law of conscious choice. In every moment of hatred, in every instance of rejection, in every experience of judgment, you have a choice. You can either enter their state or maintain your own. This is what the scripture means when it says, "Choose you this day whom ye shall serve." Will you serve the state of hatred they project? Or will you serve the state of love you choose to occupy? Think about this. Every time others hate you, they are actually presenting you with an opportunity to demonstrate the power of your consciousness. Every rejection is a chance to prove that external conditions cannot dictate your internal state. Let me share with you what I call the state of divine immunity. This is the state where others' hatred has no more power to affect your consciousness than a shadow has power to affect the sun. Their rejection has no more ability to shake your state than a wave has power to shake the ocean. This is what the Bible means when it says, "Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world." The state you choose to occupy is greater than any state others project onto you. Consider this profound truth. When you truly understand that others' hatred is merely their state made visible, you are freed from the need to defend, explain, or justify. You are liberated to simply be, to occupy your chosen state, regardless of their projections. Let me share with you another profound dimension of this truth. In the Bible it states, "If the world hates you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you." This is not about a personal hatred. It's about the world's natural resistance to any consciousness that transcends its limitations. Consider what I call the law of elevated consciousness. When you elevate your consciousness beyond the common state, when you refuse to accept the limitations others embrace, when you choose to live from a higher state, hatred from those still by limitations is natural. You see, their hatred is actually a confirmation that you're no longer operating at their level of consciousness. Their rejection is evidence that you've transcended the state they're currently occupying. Their criticism proves you've moved beyond their limitations. Let me share with you what I call the principle of divine distinction. When others hate you, they are actually helping you distinguish yourself from the mass consciousness. They are helping you confirm your occupation of a higher state. I think about this deeply. Every prophet, every visionary, every individual who has dared to live from a higher state of Hadis has passed, not because they were wrong, but because they were operating from a state beyond the world's current understanding. This is what the scripture means when it says, "Marvel not, my brethren, if the world hates you." Don't be surprised by hatred. Don't be shocked by rejection. Don't be dismayed by criticism. These are merely signs that you're no longer conforming to the limitations of mass consciousness. Let me share with you another powerful principle I call the law of persistent elevation. When faced with hatred, don't descend to the state of those who hate you. Don't drop down to their level of consciousness. Instead, use their hatred as momentum to rise even higher. You see, most people make this crucial mistake. When faced with hatred, they try to defend themselves. They try to prove themselves. They try to justify their position. But I tell you this, no defense is necessary when you understand the law of consciousness. Consider this profound truth. Those who hate you are not actually seeing you. They are seeing their own limitations reflected back to them. They are seeing their own fears magnified. They are seeing their own boundaries challenged. Let me share with you what I call a state of divine detachment. This is the state where you are so secure in your consciousness that others' hatred becomes merely interesting rather than impactful. Their rejection becomes informative rather than influential. This is what the scripture means when it says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. This is not about pardoning enemies. This is about understanding that those who hate you are operating from a state of limited consciousness. They literally know not what they do. Let me share with you another powerful technique I call the consciousness of transcendence. When others express hatred toward you, instead of reacting, pause and ask yourself what state of consciousness is being revealed here. What limitations are being exposed? You see, their hatred is actually a gift. It's showing you exactly what states of consciousness you've transcended. It's revealing precisely what limitations you've moved beyond. It's confirming exactly how far you've elevated your own consciousness. Consider what happens when you shine a light into darkness. The darkness doesn't attack the light. It simply cannot comprehend it. This is exactly what happens when you operate from a higher state of consciousness. Those in lower states cannot comprehend your state, so they resist it. Let me share with you what I call the law of conscious resistance. The more you elevate your consciousness, the more resistance you will face from those who haven't elevated theirs. The higher you rise, the more those still bound by limitations will resist your rise. But here's the wonderful truth. Their resistance is actually helping you. Their hatred is actually serving you. Their rejection is actually confirming you. For every expression of hatred is merely showing you that you're no longer bound by the limitations they still accept as real. Think about this: when someone hates you for living your truth, for expressing your authentic state, for occupying a higher consciousness, they are actually helping you strengthen your conviction in your chosen state. Let me share with you another profound aspect of this truth. Consider what I call the law of conscious polarization. When you occupy a state that transcends common limitations, you naturally create polarization. Some will be drawn to your light, while others will resist it with hatred. In the Bible it states, "Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword." This is not about physical conflict. It's about the natural division that occurs when you dare to occupy a higher state of consciousness. You see, when you refuse to conform to limitations, when you choose to live from an elevated state, you automatically create what I call the contrast of consciousness. Your very presence becomes a mirror, reflecting back to others their own limitations, their own fears, their own boundaries. Let me share with you what I call the principle of conscious magnetism. The more firmly you occupy your chosen state, the more you will attract both intense love and intense hatred. Those ready to elevate their consciousness will be drawn to you, while those committed to their limitations will resist you. Consider this deeply. Their hatred is actually a form of tribute. It's an unconscious acknowledgement that you've transcended the limitations they still accept as real. Their rejection is actually a confirmation that you're no longer bound by the constraints they still embrace. This is what the scripture means when it says, "Ye are the light of the world." When you shine your light, when you live from your elevated state of consciousness, you automatically create contrast. Light doesn't fight darkness, it simply reveals what darkness has been hiding. Let me share with you another powerful principle I call the law of conscious authenticity. The more authentic you are to your chosen state, the more polarization you will create. Some will recognize and resonate with your truth, while others will react with hatred to what they cannot understand. You see, most people make this fundamental error. They try to dim their light to avoid others' hatred. They try to shrink their consciousness to escape others' rejection. They try to conform their state to avoid others' criticism. But I tell you this, dimming your light doesn't serve anyone. Shrinking your consciousness doesn't help anyone. Conforming your state doesn't benefit anyone. The world needs your light in its full intensity, even if that light triggers others' hatred. Let me share with you what I call the state of divine authenticity. This is the state where you are so secure in your chosen consciousness that others' hatred becomes irrelevant to your expression. Their rejection becomes meaningless to your expansion. Their criticism becomes powerless against your truth. This is what the Bible means when it says, "Let your light so shine before men." This is not about seeking attention or provoking reaction. It's about being authentically true to your elevated state of consciousness, regardless of how others respond. Consider this profound truth. When you allow others' hatred to dim your light, you're not just denying yourself, you're denying those who need your light to find their way. When you let others' rejection shrink your consciousness, you're not just limiting yourself, you're limiting those who could be inspired by your example. Let me share with you what I call the law of conscious responsibility. Once you understand that others' hatred is their limitation, not yours, you have a responsibility to maintain your elevated state. Their hatred doesn't give you permission to descend to their level of consciousness. Think about this. Every time you maintain your elevated state in the face of hatred, you're demonstrating what's possible. Every time you stay true to your consciousness despite rejection, you're showing others that they too can transcend limitations. Let me share with you what I call the principle of conscious elevation. When others hate you, they're actually providing you with an opportunity to demonstrate the power of elevated consciousness. Their hatred becomes your chance to show that external conditions need not affect internal state. This is what the scripture means when it says, "Love your enemies, do good to them that hate you." This is not about being nice to those who hate you. It's about maintaining your elevated state of consciousness, regardless of how others react to it. Consider what happens when you remain in love while others hate, when you stay in peace while others attack, when you maintain joy while others reject. You're not just preserving your state, you're demonstrating the power of consciousness over circumstances. Consider what I call the law of conscious expansion. When others hate you, they actually provide you with an opportunity to expand your consciousness even further. Their hatred becomes a catalyst for your growth. In the Bible, it states, "Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you." This is not celebrating persecution. It's recognizing that opposition can serve as a powerful force for expanding your consciousness. You see, when faced with hatred, most people contract. They shrink. They retreat. But I tell you this, hatred can be the very force that pushes you to expand beyond your current limitations, to occupy even higher states of consciousness. Let me share with you what I call the principle of conscious transformation. Every instance of hatred you encounter is actually an invitation to transform your consciousness. Every rejection is an opportunity to deepen your understanding. Every criticism is a chance to strengthen your state. Consider this deeply. Those who hate you are actually serving as unconscious agents of your expansion. Their hatred provides the resistance against which you can strengthen your conscious power. Their rejection offers the contrast through which you can clarify your chosen state. This is what the scripture means when it says, "The stone which the builders rejected has become the head of the corner." Your very rejection by others can become the foundation of your greatest strength. Let me share with you another powerful principle I call the law of conscious immunity. The more you understand that others' hatred is their state, not yours, the more immune you become to its effects. Their rejection loses its power to disturb your peace. Their criticism fails to shake your certainty. You see, most people make this crucial error. They try to protect themselves from hatred by building walls, by creating defenses, by establishing barriers. But I tell you this, true immunity comes not from protection, but from understanding. Consider what I call the state of divine understanding. This is the state where you so completely understand the nature of consciousness that others' hatred becomes merely interesting rather than threatening. Their rejection becomes instructive rather than destructive. This is what the Bible means when it says, "And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." The truth that sets you free is the understanding that others' hatred is their state, their limitation, their boundary, not yours. Let me share with you what I call the principle of conscious selection. When others hate you, you have a choice in every moment. You can either enter their state of hatred, or you can maintain your chosen state of love. You can accept their rejection, or you can remain in acceptance. Think about this profound truth. Every time others express hatred toward you, they are actually presenting you with an opportunity to choose your state of consciousness. Their hatred becomes the backdrop against which you can demonstrate your conscious power. Let me share with you what I call the law of conscious reflection. Whatever others project onto you, whether hatred, whether love, rejection, or acceptance, is merely a reflection of their state of consciousness. You are the mirror, not the reflection. This is what the scripture means when it says, "Judge not, that ye be not judged." When you understand that all judgment is self-judgment, that all hatred is self-hatred, that all rejection is self-rejection, you are freed from the need to react to others' projections. Consider this: when someone hates you, they are actually showing you their relationship with themselves. When they reject you, they are revealing their rejection of aspects of themselves. When they criticize you, they are expressing their own inner critic. Let me share with you what I call the principle of conscious compassion. When you truly understand that others' hatred comes from their limitations, their fears, their boundaries, you can actually feel compassion for them while maintaining your elevated state. This is not weak compassion that compromises your state. This is strong compassion that understands while remaining unmoved. This is clear compassion that recognizes the source of hatred while refusing to enter its state. Think about this. Every time someone hates you for living your truth, for expressing your light, for occupying your chosen state, they are actually showing you where they feel most limited, most afraid, most bound.